AirLand Subcommittee meets today to consider the Army's unmanned aerial systems and the Air Force's remotely piloted aircraft enterprises in the context of our review and oversight of the FY 2017 defense budget request. I welcome our witnesses, the Commander of Air Combat Command, Air Force General Herbert Hawk Carlisle, the Commander of Training and Doctrine Command, Army General David Perkins, and the Director of Defense Capabilities and Management for the Government Accountability Office, Ms. Brenda Farrell. Thank you all for your service, and we appreciate your attendance at the hearing today. Unmanned aircraft systems are incredibly valuable, yet in short supply. These aircraft greatly increase the ability of commanders to gain situational awareness, exercise command and control, and provide strike capabilities over the modern battlefield. Our combatant commanders have repeatedly testified to the importance of and the increasing but unmet demand for these aircraft. Most recently, General Breedlove, the commander of U.S. European Command and Supreme Commander of NATO, testified that definitely below 10% of his command's intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance, or ISR requirements, are currently being met. The story is similar around the world. The Pentagon has long faced challenges with integrating and assimilating unmanned aircraft for both ISR and kinetic strike missions into its concepts of operations, doctrine, training organizations, and personnel processes. Another challenge is cultural, namely moving from primarily manned aviation to a big increase in unmanned aircraft. The Army and Air Force have taken different approaches to integrating unmanned aircraft into their services based on their unique competencies, roles, and mission requirements. First, the Army employs their UAV systems in support of tactical units and key battlefield functions. Most are organized into platoons and are organic to brigades and divisions. Others are organized into larger formations to support corps and theater commanders. The Air Force uses remote split operations to employ both their medium and high altitude remotely piloted aircraft, primarily in a theater operational role. Second, the Army uses enlisted UAV operators supervised by warrant officers and commanded by officers, while the Air Force tasks their rated officer pilots to fly their remotely piloted aircraft, organized like a traditional flying squadron. Despite literally dozens of reviews, task forces, studies, and reports on unmanned aircraft enterprises by the Department and the GAO, much room for improvement remains. For instance, then Secretary of Defense Robert Gates remarked in April 2008 that he'd been trying to get more ISR assets into the CENTCOM theater. And, quote, because people were stuck in the old way of doing business, it's been like pulling teeth, end quote. Secretary Gates therefore established the ISR Task Force, during which the Air Force presented a plan to reach 50 combat lines of MQ-1, MQ-9 aircraft by 2011 and 65 combat lines by 2013. Nevertheless, several years later, the Air Force still has an enterprise that is undermanned, overworked, and demoralized, while facing a potential mass exodus of pilots and insufficient training infrastructure to replace these losses. While I don't personally have fixed or preconceived notions about the right policy for either service, it's plain that the Department is still struggling with the transformation. I am keenly interested, as I know members of the committee are as well, in exploring the main issues facing the Army and the Air Force and how Congress can assist in this critical warfighting area. I look forward to the witnesses' testimony. I would note that several other subcommittees are meeting at this time, so we do expect senators to be coming in and out, to include my ranking member. We will give him an opportunity to make his statement should he arrive in the statement period. At this point, we will turn to General Carlisle.